Welcome to the chat. I'm hoping that you'll be able to put something up. If you want to say hi, that would be great. I'm not going to try to log in. It does this weird thing where you go live and then you have to log in like I do, say something to you, which is strange. But so today we're going to talk about isolation. And as I said, so um, I want to say that I I think that you've all been really good at staying in isolation. Um, where there are some good things being done this coming up soon because we have been good. Um, we're going to be able to go out soon. So just keep sticking to what you're doing. It's great. So, when you're in isolation and you're with your loved ones all the time, it can cause conflict. Um, Something that I'm not really great at is when there's conflict, letting things go. So, it's 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 difficult, especially if you have issues with your partner. Some have brought up that because of isolation, people are experiencing difficulties where they can't get out and they're in a relationship. So that's really tough. But if you can as a family in a healthy relationship, um, work out ways of I just need to go take a minute. I just need to go, you know, um, step away. Um, Continuing to fight is not healthy. And so when you can step back and then find it say, like, can we talk about this now? Make sure that you're talking to your family members in isolation after when you're having conflict when everybody's ready to talk about it. So I wanted to cover um oh, isolation can cause anxiety, depression, um, loneliness. So I don't mind sharing that um, I experienced loneliness for a long time because I wasn't, quote, normal. I was different. And so um, I got used to this. That being lonely and different can take it as a negative or a positive. And I say this a lot. You can, like, eagles don't fly in flocks. They know that they're leaders and they live on their own. And, you know, if you're a leader, you will sometimes feel lonely. Now, isolation having to do with the fact that you live alone, um, that has nothing to do with how you're being treated by other people. That just has to do with we're being asked to stay home. My advice to you, if you live alone, is to um, do things that make you feel good. Like, self love is really important. It's really, really important. Like, I am right now kind of sleepy because of my medicine, but I promised that I would do this. And so you don't become in jail, or what's the word? A slave to your emotions, because you'll never get anywhere. You'll never get past whatever you're feeling. You have to just change what you're doing in that moment. Like, I don't know, I bought one of my family members at the dollar store an adult coloring book and some um, nice markers for a couple bucks. Uh, Some people find that. My grandma's 90. She has been single since she was, like, I think 48 years old. After my grandpa passed away, she never remarried. Um, and she does puzzles and routine. Um, so um, I'm just gonna check because somebody just messaged on Facebook, and I'm just checking that everybody's getting it. So good morning, Mel. Hopefully you're here too. Um, so all I'm saying is, I have another friend. I won't say her name because maybe she doesn't want me to, but she is single and she's so cute. She sends me pictures of what she cooked herself for dinner. And I just got back from a walk, and she has no boyfriend, no nothing. Um she has self-love that I admire. Not it's just it's a self-care thing, like she's been baking bread and stuff. Like, you know, I when my kids were little and off at school, I was alone. I would love to put on the music thing, and like I did housework. Like, I can't believe what I used to get done when I was young, but uh, like, if you're the kind of person who gets some sort of satisfaction out of completing a household task, then crank up the tunes and sing. We've proven that singing is it's very healthy. Like, it actually brings happy um, chemicals in your brain change that make you feel happy. Um, Smiling, it actually tricks your brain to think that you're happy. And I think my mom said that my grandma said you'll get something like, you know, you'll get happy. I have to ask her. It's something like you'll be miserable till you get happy. Like, it sounds stupid, but it's true. It's like, if you want to be miserable and you don't make changes, then it just won't get better. Um, so that takes me to negative self talk. So, what is your self talk? What do you tell yourself? You go to the mirror and go, oh, hate my hair. My nose is too big. Whatever. Like, I don't, it's not a thing for me. Like, I don't care. But, sometimes I look in the mirror and I have bags under my eyes, and that is a, like, hereditary thing. Like, has the skin is close to the certain area, and the blood vessels cause that coloring. Um, I don't care. I have no makeup on right now. I threw in some lipstick and funny deodorant, even though you can't smell me. But so what is your negative self-talk? So my challenge to you is, if you're taught I'm a failure, I it's never gonna get better, no matter how hard I try. Those are some of the things I used to say. And um, someone I admire, Rachel Hollis, says, um, someone else's opinion of you is none of your business. And she's right. And so you get down to it, all the negative self talk of what you're afraid of people, what they're going to think of you, is is like, don't let other people's potential thoughts take up space in your brain, because then you're using up energy you have. Um, or like personally, I don't have I don't have the energy to like get really mad at someone right now. I'm too busy working and trying to stay mentally well. Um, because my doctor told me 50% of all people that he treats for bipolar are not working. So I don't have time. And so not only should you not care about what other people think, I mean, I care about what God thinks, and that's my own personal belief system, but you should care about what you think about yourself. So if you can't, you need to work on loving yourself. If you want to accomplish anything in your life, you have to be your own best cheerleader. Because you don't love yourself, how can you contribute to anything? Because you don't have self awareness of what you like or what you're good at or how you can add to someone's life. Um, you know, if which is a nice segue to what I want to talk about next, codependency. So something that I was really good at when I didn't love myself, help other people. And there's a book that I am going to go through, get to it. So, Codependent No More by Melody Beattie. So that's Melody, and then Beattie is Batie. If you live alone and you have a computer, it's $16 to buy it to put it on your iPad, or you can get it as an audio book. Disclaimer, just careful you're ordering it from Google Play or Apple. So I'm going to take you a bit through this book, because codependency, if you have negative self talk about yourself, then you could be in big danger picking someone that needs fixing. And I'll elaborate on that. A lot of people that have negative self talk, they can find joy in helping people find their path. But all you're doing, if you don't do the work on yourself first, avoiding um, is avoiding your own issues. Um, I guess there's some people that are messaging on Facebook, maybe. Okay, so one of my friends, hopefully there's only one person on, and I hope it's you. So I'm sending you an I'm on, and I'm gonna look on Facebook here to see um, who else has joined us. So um, I promised that I would keep this a place of safe space. So place of anonymity. It says I only have one viewer, but you can watch this on the replay. So if you have negative self-talk, before I move on with codependency, is I want to challenge you to get some cue cards, or instead of going out because of COVID, get some computer paper, cut it up in cards. And I had around my house, and I do if I need it. I put something on there that I'm good at. That the big one I keep saying on here is thoughts aren't facts. So the sad thing is, you take a thought, you make it a fact, you react to the thought that you made a fact, and you get into a fight with a family member or friend over an assumption you made about a person, thing, or situation when it was just a thought, it wasn't even true. And then you look like an idiot because if you're the type that makes a thought a fact, I'm dumb, I'm never going to go anywhere. The sad part is you'll make that thought a fact, and then you'll go, see, I was right. So you have to change your self talk. And, you know, I write nice things like, I like that I'm tall. I like that, um, you know, I like that I have a deep voice. Because when I sing, I can sing a lot of songs that men sing. Um, I like that I am thoughtful. Like whatever your thing is. And um, that's awesome, Kevin. So yeah, like, I mean, stick them to your dashboard. Like, but here's the big one: thought is not a fact. So, you know, put the thought up against the question: is it a fact? And if it's not, it's garbage. Needs to go. So that coincides with your negative self-talk. And so in isolation, if you live alone, your negative self-talk could be quite loud because maybe you don't go out. Well, you can't. We're not supposed to. You're not going out often because we got to get groceries. But it can be quite loud up in here, your negative self-talk. So change it. And I'm sorry, but I have been to hell and back. I am not interested in excuses. I'm not interested in, like, if you don't like it, change it. Um and you know, I have left relationships that, hindsight 2020, were not good for me. And so self-awareness is really important, and that takes me into codependency. So if you're just jumping in, uh, the book by Melody Beattie, Melody Beattie, Battie, is Codependent No More. So if you don't love yourself, if you have negative self-talk, you may find yourself in relationships where you're fixing other people because you need to avoid your own issues. But the people that you usually seek out are people that have big problems, and you're really attracted to them and you don't know why, but it's because in a codependent relationship, there's co means two, and dependent, the codependency, two people. You both depend on each other to dysfunctionally function. And where do I get that from? Uh, so, thank you for sharing that. Uh, okay, so one of uh, so one of like I'm trying to keep it privacy. I don't know what people can't see or can see, but so yeah, in the case where you can't turn off the negative self-talk, um, you need to do some deep soul searching on what is the cause of that. What what makes you nonstop loathe yourself? Like that's really difficult. If you've been through severe abuse, um, mental, physical, sexual, whatever, um, you will have like a blame on yourself, blame yourself. And I understand that because I've been through all of it. But you have to build yourself up, have to prove yourself wrong in the sense that, like, I used to think I was dumb. I'm not dumb. I don't, just different from everyone else. So, in the book by Melody Beattie, there's a quote by Agnes Replier. It is not easy to find happiness in ourselves, and it is not possible to find it elsewhere. So, I think that's a really good quote for you. Um, I'll just call you Mr. K to keep it private. But yeah, it is not easy to find happiness in ourselves, and it is not possible to find it elsewhere. So, think of it this way. You don't have to believe what I believe, but I use the Bible as like it really strengthens me knowing that God's got my back. And it actually says, a broken vase cannot pour into another broken vase. So you need to heal you before you try to help someone else. And really, in an ideal world, um, if you're going to be in a relationship, if you're not well and you go into a relationship, that's dangerous because you're going to find someone who wants to fix you or you're going to want to fix them. And the word gross comes to mind. And I've been through it and it's bad. Bad. Be in that kind of a relationship. It's not fun. It's not joyful. It's exhausting. So if if you don't know, if you have constant loud negative thoughts, then you don't know yourself well enough, because I could be sitting here telling you this, and I used to be this person who like gives advice to all kinds of people, but at the same time got more problems than I know what to deal with inside, but I'm giving someone else advice, which is ridiculous because I need to heal myself, right? Um, so figure out who you are. I was in a relationship where I gave so much of myself to that person, two people actually. See, that's the thing. Can you, if you don't heal the inside of you, you'll just keep picking the same person, only in different clothes. That is flat out true. Because my one girlfriend who went through the same thing I did, she said, her picker is broken, which means she can't pick the right guy because she has a tendency to be attracted to people that are needing fixing. And so you can't, I'll say it again, you're a broken vase. Stephanie, the broken vase. And this is this person that I'm attracted to with really broken, like alcoholic, um, you know, codependent people are like usually attracted to people that um are that what's the word I had it you with that person withholds love from you. So if your vase is broken, you shouldn't try to go into a relationship where someone else's vase is broken because there's nothing to pour in, because there's nothing in here. So you need to do like I went to school for social service worker. I've read hundreds of books on self development. So write down that word. I'm going to give you a second to get a paper and pen. Okay? So get a paper and pen and write this down. Self awareness. Self awareness. If you are not self aware, then you can be numb because of what you've been through. You need to be self aware why you feel and think about things the way that you do so that you can change it. So, it would be probably a good exercise to write down. Take a pen, Mr. K, and I think it would. Whoever else is on here, I'm not going to say. I say good morning to you though. Write down all the things that you hear your negative self-talk saying. Dumb, like, okay, in my 20s, I went bankrupt. Like, like, that was not great for my self-esteem. And I won't get into that, but like, it creates a lot of baggage. So, like, write on a piece of paper all your negative self talk. Now, then, go through the exercise, read it, and ask yourself, say that to your best friend? You say this stuff to your family? You say this stuff to any friend? You're stupid, you're dumb, you don't know anything, you're a loser, you lost. You know, I I've lost a lot from stuff to people to money to you know. I mean, I'm I'm here to help people. I am not proud to say, and this is the reason why I'm bringing it up, because people have mental illnesses and negative self talk is low self esteem, and that leads to depression, and depression is a mental illness. And so can end up in a codependent relationship because any attention's better than none sometimes. And although that sounds nice, it's bad because eventually all you'll do is fight that person. One day you'll wake up and you'll be fed up and you'll be like, I've shown you how to get better. Why are you not getting better? And they're like, I didn't think anything was wrong with me in the first place. And then you're knee deep in that relationship and you're screwed. And I'm not proud to say, but I'm divorced twice. Like, you know? So, and that's because I did not self evaluate. That is one of my regrets. And so that's why I'm saying self awareness. And I was very unwell. My manic depression was not treated. I didn't see things properly because I wasn't being treated. And I ended up marrying an alcoholic. And it's incredible how all the signs are there while you're dating that something's not right. But if you are so hooked on, you know, you are the codependent, like you feel good when you are needed. That's not right. That's why I'm telling you, you need to heal yourself, because you only feel good when you feel needed. And that's a problem. Like, my grandma's 90. I've never, ever heard her say that I've never heard my grandma complain a lot. And she's cute. Like, she folds her dirty laundry and puts it away. Like, she has all these things that she does that makes her feel like her. Like, and she makes herself a little bit of potatoes with a pork chop, and then she'll have a brownie, and she has her exercise bike in her 2-bedroom apartment, and happy. Like, it is possible to be happy without someone else. But if you're the type of person and you want someone, then I'm going to tell you my opinion that I think is just logical. If you are hurting inside, if you don't have anything nice to say to yourself, then the scariest part is you will be drawn to someone who needs fixing, like an alcoholic or someone who is a narcissist. And a narcissist is someone who blames you for everything. It's all your fault. And so, yeah, so negative self-talk is really important. Great exercise, as I just said, is write until you don't have any of them left. I've done this before with something where you take out a book and you just write until it's all out of your head, and then read it back, or maybe put it away and read the next day. And ask yourself, would you say any of that stuff to anyone? So, my belief system, and I'll give you some hope, is we're all here for a reason. We all go through really tough stuff, and it's so that we can learn from it. And somewhere along the lines, if I had a perfect life, you know, I would not feel like I had the right to sit here and encourage you to be well. And when I say well, mental wellness is just as important as getting your broken arm fixed. Like, it's because your computer is your brain. And if the computer is broken, my son, he's a semi-pro gamer. If his computer is broken, it doesn't matter if he knows how to play the game. If he can't get his computer to work, nothing works. I think you have to think of your brain as that if you don't get your mindset, there's another word, self-awareness, mindset. You don't fix your mindset. If you don't reject, no, I'm not dumb, actually, like, stop it in its tracks. You are not, you need to, my kids will tell you that when I was younger, I would talk out loud because I would be like, wait, no, I'm not dumb. God loves me. He doesn't think I'm dumb. So I'm actually smart and I'm capable of a lot of things. So start saying those things. And I challenge you to sit down and take stock of what you are good at. Are you, Mr. K, um, a dad? Are you, whoever else is on here? Are you a mom? Like, so there's one positive. Someone, your children, if you have any, look up to you. So if you don't have anyone, but you have a friend, like, stop looking at what you don't have and start looking at what you do have. So I'll repeat that. Codependent No More by Melody Beattie. And she has a quote. It is not easy to find happiness in ourselves. So, it's not easy, but it's possible. And it is not possible to find it somewhere else. Not in money, not in stuff, not in your job, because you're not what you do. So, I'm just going to look here. So, I highly recommend this book. I'm going to be referring to it along the way here. Sorry, I'm just flipping pages on my iPad. Apologize. Slow. It's old. Okay, so this is straight from Melody Beattie, and this is her introduction. And I used to skip introductions in books, but I think this is a good one. My first encounter with codependence occurred in the early 60s. This was before people tormented by other people's behavior were called codependents, and before people addicted to alcohol and other drugs were labeled chemically dependent. Although I didn't know what codependents were, I usually knew who they were. As an alcoholic and addict, I stormed through life, helping create other codependents. Codependents were a necessary nuisance. They were hostile, controlling, manipulative, indirect, guilt producing, difficult to communicate with, generally disagreeable, sometimes downright hateful, and a hindrance to my compulsion to get high. So she obviously was an addict. And I guess when you're an addict, you say you're in recovery the rest of your life. They hollered at me, hid my pills, made nasty faces at me, poured my alcohol down the sink, tried to keep me from getting more drugs, wanted to know why I was doing this to them, and asked what was wrong with me. But they were always there, ready to rescue me from self created disasters. The codependents in my life didn't understand me, and the misunderstanding was mutual. I didn't understand me, and I didn't understand them. Like, so you get an idea of um I wasn't the person who had a substance abuse. I was the person who would nag, the person who's chemically dependent or emotionally controlling. Have this whole plan, like, sit down with them and we're going to talk it out and they're going to get it when I explain it because I've really thought this through and they love me, so they're going to not do it. They're going to stop. No, because reason I'm talking about this with people who are lonely or have a mental illness, have a tendency towards getting into relationships that are codependent is because if you are feeling lonely, you may take just about anything into your life to feel like you matter. But really, what I should have done is worked on myself instead of went out and found someone who needed work, who actually didn't even want help in the first place, didn't even have an, like, I was like, I'm gonna help this person. I am just over the moon with this person. And we're so in love and we're gonna fix each other. Eh, no, 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 no. You heard what Melody just said. The person who's addicted to gambling or whatever does not have a problem in their mind. So, like, run like HE double hockey sticks. If you meet someone and you're attracted to them, like, but then there's like these weird feelings and you know it, as I knew it. You get that feeling in your gut, like, uh, um, that wasn't really great. Um, that that bothered me. And they just said that. Oh, you brush it off like they're tired or whatever. So she goes on to say, my first professional encounter with codependence occurred years later in 1976. At that time in Minnesota, addicts and alcoholics had become chemically dependent. Their families and friends had become significant others, and I had become a recovering addict and alcoholic. These are all the labels that were used in 1976. By then, I also worked as a counselor in the chemical dependency field, that vast network of institutions, programs, and agencies that helps chemically dependent people get well. Because I'm a woman, and most of the significant others at that time were women, because I had the least seniority and none of my coworkers wanted to do it. My employer at the tongue tie Minneapolis Treatment Center told me to organize support groups for wives of addicts in the program. I wasn't prepared for this task. I still found codependence hostile, controlling, manipulative, indirect, guilt producing, difficult to communicate with, and more. In my group, so here's the thing. I, having had married an alcoholic, um, I went to Al Anon, and one of the things they teach is, you, the one who is not addicted to something, are just as sick as the person who is an alcoholic or drug addict or whatever, narcissist, just insert whatever. And that was eye opening, because that's where you can check yourself. So, what she's saying is codependents are hostile, controlling, manipulative, indirect, guilt producing, difficult to talk with, and more. In my In my group, I saw people who felt responsible for the entire world, but they refused to take responsibility for leading and living their own lives. That's a good one. So you get to decide, right? None of my business. But are you are you me? Are you the one who goes, oh, I can fix you? Or are you the person who's in denial that you drink, that you're an alcoholic, that you use any kind of substance? Um, I mean, it could be anything, but you could be addicted to working out, and anything that interrupts your life with your family and your friends that takes over your life is an addiction. So, are you that person? And so you need to, there I go back, self awareness. It's time to peel back the layers and figure out, why do you do what you do? Don't stare at it. Just go, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense why I act like that. There's something I call the crazy wheel. And um, the first person to come out with it um, is a pastor. And I didn't bring that book upstairs with me. But he says it in a different way, which someday I'll take you through this book because it's groundbreaking on relationships. But I'll use the word crazy wheel in a different way. Um, you know, the person who's addicted or it is the dependent blames the codependent because the codependent is trying to fix the dependent, which makes them feel crappier about themselves because they already know what they're doing is awful. And so the codependent comes up with a nothing new under the sun idea of how they're going to fix their dependent the next day. And it just goes round and round and round and round and round until the whole thing blows apart. So, I'm going to leave you with that because that's a lot to take in. So today we talked about isolation. You live alone and like you don't like how you're feeling, then I was in a relationship for 14 years where I was asked often if I was single because I was alone all the time. I know what alone means. And if you don't take, you know, if you don't find what I'm saying helpful, I mean, I'm not the one that said it. There's many doctors that help people and psychologists codependency. If you don't take heed to what I'm saying, you will end up in a relationship where you feel alone if you're the fixer. And if you're the dependent who wants to get well, then you're going to have to ask yourself, what am I addicted to? Or, are you addicted to being violent, controlling, abusive? Do you like to demean your children or your spouse? Like, that's your problem to look at. And maybe you have to say to yourself, people are resilient. If someone says to me, I'm sorry, and stops doing it, that's the key. Don't use sorry as a band-aid for the moment. If you say you're sorry, then you get help and you do some soul searching. And soul searching is self-development, self-awareness, take a look at your self-talk, because I firmly believe what's in your heart comes out of your mouth. And if you're unhappy, it's like I said in the last video, this is fact. If someone is drowning, the lifeguard carries the orange Bowie. I'm just going to call it that. It's probably not called that. The orange thing. You know why? Because if they jump in to save the person drowning will push the lifeguard down and drown them, and they will live and the lifeguard dies. Look it up. It's a thing. So what they do is they throw that thing out that floats on the water and they say, grab onto it and I'll pull you in. So if you are the dependent, then you need to figure out how you're not going to drown the other people around you, because you don't love yourself and you turn to alcohol or drugs or, you know, making everyone in the house walk on eggshells because you're just so mad and have so much self-hatred. That's that's something you need to fix. You need to fix you. So, um, I really highly recommend this book by Melody Beattie, and I think that I think I defined codependence really well with, she described herself as the addict, someone who is addicted to anything does not think they have a problem. So you're attracted to them. You need, so you're the codependent. Like, ask yourself. And what I found in my own life, the people that I decided to get into a relationship with, um, they actually didn't even truly, I don't think, wanted a relationship. So that's interesting. So when she mentions the codependents are manipulative, it's not something that I would like to say about myself, but but I'm it's easy to control people if you're the codependent because you're trying to make them see. You can't make anyone see anything. So you'll do backflips. The funniest thing I ever heard is this. I was going to Al-Anon before I made the decision to leave that relationship. Some people, it works. Their alcoholic goes to um, Alcoholics Anonymous, and the other person goes to Al-Anon, and they survive it. But um, uh, mine wasn't willing to, and I just had enough. But that's my fault because there was lots of signs looking back. Lots. So, um, so I will recap where my head is just to help you as to why we've covered all of this. So in isolation, you can be vulnerable. If you are you're in isolation and you're in an emotionally abusive relationship or mentally, it is your choice what to do in the sense of, I don't know if there's a choice. Maybe there aren't shelters, but if you're, I really recommend this book called Who's Pushing Your Buttons by Dr. John Townsend. And I will say that I'm living proof that when you leave a relationship, that you'll end up in the same relationship. Only, what's that saying? Different. The it's a. It's just. I like to say to people, you always look. The grass is always greener on the other side. When actually, I just say no. It's just more grass. Just different. It's just maybe that grass has even more weeds than the other grass you were cutting. Um, so you get to ask yourself. So isolation. Um, the point in making who's pushing your buttons is because you need to heal yourself. And if you do decide to leave a relationship, then you need to make sure that you're well. If you're codependent, Melody outlined in the book um, that she was the addict, didn't feel she needed fixing at all, and that the codependence in her life did all these nasty things. So what I was saying was, and again, so we talked about negative self-talk. So you need to heal that so you don't end up having someone stroke your ego. Oh, you're so beautiful. You're so smart. Whatever. When I asked my ex-husband, because I actually the second time sat down a person and said, this is what I believe in. This is what I need. This is what I want. This is what I won't do. When I asked, why did you not answer me? Thank you, my dear friend. You like the lifeguard example. So when I asked my ex, who was the alcoholic, I asked you, I was like, I'm not going to do stupid twice. I sat down and I said, this is what I believe. This is what I want. This is what I don't want me and my kids to go through. And so you need to know that, you know, you may think, and I'm not saying this arrogant, this is just to make you laugh. Like, my joke is, hey, like, you might think Barbie's pretty, but she comes with 3 kids and baggage. So I was really upfront about my issues, including my bipolar disorder. And for a whole year, this person fooled me. So, when they weren't fooling me, I ignored it, ignored the signs. So, if you live alone, become your own best friend, because you can be in a relationship and be alone. And I will tell you that sucks way worse than being alone, because at least you aren't having to deal with someone's crap of ignoring you, that you matter. You need to work on you. So, negative self-talk has to go. Write it out and ask yourself, I say this to anyone. People like you and I are usually the most compassionate, kindest people, because we've done it all, we've been through it all, we've been at tons of people's doormats. You know what? It's up to you to say that's enough. So I'm going to read this one more time, and then I'm going to leave you with something inspiring. But it says, Melody says, because she was running, her employer at the Minneapolis Treatment Center told her to organize support groups for wives of addicts in the program. She wasn't prepared for this task. So she says, I still found codependents hostile, controlling, manipulative, indirect, guilt producing, difficult to communicate with, and more. And it takes, not going to say it because I'm going to be polite in case little kids are listening. It takes guts to admit which one you are, because an addict of anything, from sex to exercise to alcohol to drugs to whatever, tension, like living in these times where the internet allows us lots of attention, you need to self-evaluate. So I'm gonna leave you with something from this book, this little mini book, John C. Maxwell, How Successful People Win. I've got like 30 seconds that makes it an hour. I'm going to try to keep it to an hour. The first loss isn't the biggest loss. When we experience a loss, we have a choice. If we immediately respond to it right away, the loss becomes smaller to us. However, if we respond the wrong way, or if we fail to respond at all, that loss becomes greater. And it often leads to other losses. As the subsequent losses come at us, they seem to become bigger and bigger, crashing over us like waves in a violent storm. As the number of losses goes up, Our self-confidence goes down. We make matters worse when we compare ourselves to others because we rarely do so on a level playing field. I can't compare myself to someone who doesn't have bipolar, that I can't work 40 hours a week. And I did that for a long time. And that's unfair to me. I have a disability. We either compare we either compare our best, including our good intentions, to someone else's worst, or we compare our worst to someone else's best. That can lead to a negative cycle of self-talk. But there's something you need to know. The most important person you will ever talk to is yourself. So be careful what you say. Okay, I'm going to tell you that I didn't even plan where I was going to read this. Honest to God, in Jesus' name. Like, I didn't even know that this was going to say this. So this is cool. The most important person you will ever evaluate is yourself. So be careful what you think. The most important person you will love is yourself. So be careful what you do. And I'm going to end it there. So that's from John C. Maxwell's How Successful People Win. And that's page 6. So what's the lesson? I'm going to tell you straight up. If you do not stop treating yourself like crap, telling yourself you're crap, it will be crappy forever. And I had to do a speech to people in my community, and Joe, my partner, read it. I asked him to read it over, and he was crying so much. He was like, we've got to dumb this down a little. It is awful. So I've been through it all, and if anyone was ever to say it's easy for you, I would in my head smack them, because it's not. I just choose to not be unkind to myself one more day, because I'm not getting any younger and we're not promised tomorrow. So thanks for hanging out with me. I hope that some of this has been helpful, and I appreciate your time and your love and your humility to want to learn, to discover the awesome, wonderful you that already exists, that you're just not allowing to come out by the things that you think, do, and say to yourself. So I'm Stephanie Brown, and you can email me at stephanie@livingalive.today. My TikTok handle is at Stephanie Brown 1975. You'll see a different side of me that's goofy. And my Facebook is just Stephanie Brown. Maybe I just said that. I don't know. But I'm happy to talk to you anywhere. And I hope that you've learned something today. But it does no good to learn something but not apply it. There's a saying again, I refer to the Bible a lot because it's given me my sanity. It doesn't have to be what you do, that's fine. But I find a lot of the things in there make a lot of sense. And there's a verse that says, you know, it says love your love yourself first so you can love others. So there is a there is an order to it. Just like, it's spring, and then it's summer, then it's fall, then it's winter. Like, nature has its own rhythm, and we're part of the cycle of life, and loving yourself is part of you becoming more effective in your life. So have a good day. See you next Saturday here at 10 a.m. EST. Share it with your family that we're going to be here. And if you're watching this on the replay, put some comments in. And thank you for your comments that you've provided during this live. I appreciate you. And know that you're loved and cared for, and that anything that is not good or lovely or kind that you are telling yourself or that you're hearing in your brain is a lie. And I would not entertain a liar. So don't entertain the thoughts that are just lies. So, bye. Love